You'll find your names beside your places. Please be seated.
Does anyone
Please
see
see
my
my
name?
Grab a refill.
There
Oh, is that
Looks delicious.
on me?
They take their places. Colonel Mustard next to Miss Scarlet, next to Mr. Green, next to Mrs. White, next to Mrs. Peacock, next to Professor Plum.
This place, at the head of the table. Is that for you?
Indeed, no, sir. I don't sit. I am merely a humble butler.
What exactly do you do?
I buttle, sir.
Dinner is served.
Thank you, cook.
Yvette and the cook serve them soup.
All right then, what's this here about? This here dinner party?
Ours not to reason why, ours but to do and die.
Die?
Merely quoting, sir, from Alfred Lord Tennyson.
I prefer Kipling myself.
Miss Scarlet offers a basket of dinner rolls to Colonel Mustard.
Do you like Kipling, Colonel?
Sure. I'll eat anything. So, who is our host? Is this where he sits?
All in good time, sir.
Yvette serves soup to Mrs. Peacock.
What is that smell? It's something familiar.
Shark fin soup.
Oh, my favorite. Ugh.
I know.
Cook and Mrs. Peacock exchange a sinister glance.
Bon appetit.
Oh, this is just yum, 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 yum. Well, I guess I'll be the one to get the ball rolling here. I mean, I'll be the one to break the ice. It's an integral part of my life as the wife of a... Oh, I forgot. We're not supposed to say who we really are. Well, I don't really know what's going on exactly here, but I'm very intrigued about all this that's going on, and I just... It's just delicious.
I know who you are.
You do?
I work in Washington.
Washington. So you must be a politician's wife, Mrs. Peacock.
Yes, I am.
Who's your husband? Maybe I know him.
Well, he's, Mrs. White, you've been awfully quiet. What does your husband do?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Well, he just lies around on his back all day.
How lazy.
Not necessarily.
Mr. Green spills his drink all over Miss Scarlet.
Sorry. Little accident prone, sorry.
He starts to mop Miss Scarlet's chest.
Hey, that'll be $5, mister.
Sorry?
Mr. Green, what do you do in Washington?
Oh, I'd better not say. I like to follow the rules.
Well, if I wasn't trying to keep the conversation going, then we'd just all be sitting here in embarrassed silence.
Are you afraid of silence, Miss Peacock?
Yes, no. Why?
Well, in my professional opinion, it seems you suffer from what we like to call pressure of speech.
Is that an official diagnosis?
Are you a doctor, Professor?
In psychological medicine.
Do you practice?
Not anymore. I currently work for the U.S. government.
Ah, another politician.
Not exactly. I do research for you know who.
Who?
A branch of the United Nations organization. The World Health Organization.
Ah, you know who.
We are going
It's
to
an acronym.
pause once again to wait until YouTube catches up with us because we're still paused. So everyone turn their cameras off. And when we start again, we'll start with scene 2 once again. Okay, we're picking up right where we left off.
You'll find your names beside your places. Please be seated.
Do y'all see my name?
Oh,
That
I
me?
am going to grab a
Oh,
refill.
is that me?
They all find their spaces at their tables. Colonel Mustard next to Mrs. White, next to Miss Scarlet, next to Mr. Green, next to Mrs. Peacock, next to Professor Plum.
so this place at the head of the table, is that for you?
No, sir, I don't sit. I am merely a humble butler.
What exactly do you do?
I buttle, sir.
Dinner is served.
Thank you, cook.
Yvette and Cook serve them soup.
Well then, what's this here about? This here dinner party?
Ours not to reason why, ours but to do and die.
Die?
Merely quoting, sir, from Alfred Lord Tennyson.
I prefer Kipling myself.
Scarlet offers a basket of dinner rolls to Colonel Mustard.
Do you like Kipling, Colonel?
Sure, I'll eat anything. So, who is our host? And is this where he sits?
All in good time, sir.
Yvette serves soup to Mrs. Peacock.
Ooh, what is that smell? It's something familiar.
Shark fin soup.
Ah, my favorite. Oh.
I know.
The cook and Mrs. Peacock exchange a sinister glance.
Bon appetit.
This is delicious. This is just, ooh, yum, 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 yum. Oh, well, well, I mean, I guess I'll be the one to get the ball rolling. I mean, I'll be the one to break the ice. I'm used to being a hostess. It is an integral part of my life as the wife of a, oh, I forgot. What am I supposed to say who we really are? Well, I'm not really sure what's going on here, but I'm just very intrigued by all of this. And I just, oh, my soup is delicious. Ooh.
I know who you are.
You do?
I work in Washington.
Washington. So you must be a politician's wife, Miss Peacock.
Yes, I am.
Who's your husband? Maybe I know him.
He's Mrs. White. You have been awfully quiet. What does your husband do?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Well, he just lies around on his back all day.
Oh, how lazy.
Not necessarily.
Mr. Green spills his drink all over Miss Scarlet.
Oh, sorry. Little accident prone, sorry.
He starts to mop Miss Scarlet's chest.
Hey, that'll be $5, mister.
Sorry?
Mr. Green, what do you do in Washington?
Oh, I'd better not say. I like to follow the rules.
Well, if I wasn't trying to keep this conversation going, we'd all just be sitting here in embarrassed silence. Oof.
Are you afraid of silence, Miss Peacock?
Yes, no. Why?
Well, in my professional opinion, it seems you suffer from what we call pressure of speech.
Is that an official diagnosis?
Are you a doctor, Professor?
In psychological medicine.
Do you practice?
Not anymore. I currently work for the U.S. government.
Ah, another politician.
Not exactly. I do research for you know who.
Who?
A branch of the United Nations organization.
Ah,
The World Health Organization.
Oh, U-O-O. It's an acronym.
I have a sister who is a gymnast.
You are a real colonel, aren't you?
I am, sir.
Aren't you going to mention the coincidence that you also live in Washington, D.C., Colonel?
How did you know that?
I've seen you before.
So, Miss Scarlet, does that mean you live in Washington too?
I sure do.
Does anyone here not live in Washington?
They all look at each other, putting together the coincidence.
So, then is this about the Red Scare?
I'm not a communist. I'm a Republican.
Colonel Mustard stands, fed up, addressing Wadsworth.
Wadsworth, we've had enough of this. Where's our host, and why have we been brought here?
Ah, speak of the devil. Pardon me, please.
Wadsworth exits.
Hey, I've got an idea.
Quickly, Miss Scarlet grabs her empty water glass and runs to the door. She places her ear against her glass against the door. They all follow suit, dumping the contents of their glasses, lining up, single file, behind Miss Scarlet, ears to glasses against the backs of the guests in front of them, as though they are able to hear through the glass, through the guests, through the door. We hear muffled voices from the hall. They talk on top of each other.
Oh, yes. Good thinking, Miss Scarlet.
What are we doing?
The acoustic coupling between the glass and the door allows sound waves to travel from one side to the other.
We hear Wadsworth's muffled voice from the hall.
All the guests have arrived as expected, sir. Everything's going according to plan. We'll meet you in the study.
Wadsworth re-enters the dining room. He clears his throat, startling the chain of guests. They startle, surprised at his entrance, and try to cover their faux pas.
We weren't doing anything.
Hello, Wadsworth.
Wadsworth.
Game.
Beautiful.
Mrs. Peacock removes the napkin from her dress and slams it on the table.
I was at the door. I demand to know what is going on here.
Can I interest any of you in fruit or dessert?
No.
That case, may I suggest that we adjourn to the study for coffee and brandy, at which point I believe your newly arrived host will reveal his intentions, your letters will be explained, and the game will be afoot.
Scene 3, the study. Yvette serves drinks from a bar cart.
Coffee, brandy.
Thank you, Yvette. That will be all.
Oui, monsieur.
Yvette exits.
Well, where's our host?
He's not here. Nobody's here. What is going on?
Cigarette? It'll calm your nerves.
I do not smoke.
Mrs. Peacock pulls a flask out of her purse, takes a deep swig. Colonel Mustard finds a string and button closure envelope on the desk. The envelope reads confidential in large red letters.
Huh. For Wadsworth. Open after dinner. It's for you.
Wadsworth opens the envelope and reads it privately. Professor Plum tries to get a glimpse over his shoulder. Wadsworth blocks his effort.
Right then. Are you comfortable?
I make a good living.
Oh, out with it, Wadsworth.
Ladies and gentlemen, these instructions are clear.
I'm glad something is.
It seems the 6 of you have all received the same letter.
They all reveal their letters. Wadsworth takes the letter from Professor Plum and reads from it.
It will be to your advantage to be present on this date because a Mr. Body will bring to an end a certain long-standing, confidential, and painful financial liability.
That's what mine says.
That's my letter, so.
As it turns out, you all have one thing in common.
That time, McCarthy, we're all being blacklisted, aren't we?
Close, Colonel. You're all being blackmailed. For some considerable time, all of you have been paying more than you can afford to someone who threatens to expose you.
Oh, please. What is someone going to blackmail me for? I go to church every Sunday.
Yeah, lady. Don't we all?
Anybody else wish to deny it? No? Okay. Until you'd received your letters, you hadn't known who was blackmailing you. But now, I'm sure that even the least discerning amongst you has determined that the man behind your ransom is Mr. Body himself.
Well, yes, I figured as much, but who is this bald
And who
fella?
are you, his henchman? You pompous British butler.
Mr. Body? What a scoundrel!
All the stress is not good for my blood pressure.
You think I can handle a little blackmail?
Who is this Mr. Body fella, you brutish butler?
Who Mr. Body is no concern of yours. Suffice it to say, he's a supporter of the House Un-American Activities Committee, and he feels your activities have been decidedly un-American.
Un-American?
American. It's a little immoral, but other than that.
This evening is to expose your secrets to each other, rendering you all culpable in each other's indiscretions.
But we hardly know each other.
Precisely.
Don't you think you might spare us this humiliation?
I'm afraid I have no choice. We'll start with you, Professor Plum.
Ooh, this ought to be good.
It says here you were once a professor of psychiatry, specializing in pathological lying lunatics suffering from delusions of grandeur.
Yes, but now I work for the U.S. government.
So your work has not changed. But you can't practice medicine anymore. Your license has been lifted, correct?
Why? What do you do?
You know how male doctors aren't supposed to date their lady patients?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he did.
How awful! Someday there will be a reckoning for men like you.
I hope so.
Me too.
You're disgusting.
Are you making moral judgments, Mrs. Peacock? How then do you justify taking bribes in return for delivering Senator Peacock's votes to certain lobbyists?
My husband is a paid consultant. There is nothing sinful about that.
Not if it's publicly declared, but if you slip cash under the door at Old Ebbett's Grill, how would you describe that transaction?
I'd say it stinks.
When were you in that men's room?
So it's true.
No, it is a vicious lie.
But you've been paying blackmail for over a year now to keep that story out of the papers. Seems a little sticky. No.
Now, listen here.
No, I'm willing to believe you. I too am being blackmailed for something I didn't do.
So am I.
So am I.
Not me.
You're not being blackmailed?
Oh, I'm being blackmailed, all right. But I'm being blackmailed for something I did do.
What did you do?
I run a non-governmental agency that handles classified affairs.
In Washington! Oh!
Is that how you knew Colonel Mustard worked in Washington? Was he having a classified affair?
Certainly not.
I was asking Mrs. Scarlett.
Well then, Miss Scarlett, you tell him it's not true.
It's not true.
Is that true?
No, it's not true.
So it is true.
A double negative.
A double negative? You mean you have photographs?
That sounds like a confession to me. In fact, the double negative has led to a proof positive. I'm afraid you gave yourself away.
Are you trying to make me look stupid in front of the other guests?
You don't need any help from me, sir. Colonel, looks like you hold a sensitive security post in the Pentagon. Those negatives would most certainly compromise your position.
And what position exactly were you cutting, Colonel?
This is an outrage!
Let's see, who's next? Mrs. White, you've been paying our friend the blackmailer ever since your husband died, under, shall we say, mysterious circumstances?
Say what you want. I didn't kill him.
Then why are you paying the blackmailer?
I don't want another scandal, do I?
Another?
We had a very humiliating confrontation. He had threatened to kill me in public.
Why would he want to kill you in public?
I think she had meant that he had threatened in public to kill her.
It was all over the papers.
And yet, he was the one who died, not you, Mrs. White. Not you.
He was found dead at home, unclothed. His head had been cut off, and so had his, you know.
As she gestured.
Ow!
But I didn't do it. I'd been out all evening. At the movies.
What was showing?
The Naked Alibi.
A likely story.
But he was your second husband. Your first also disappeared.
That was his job. He was an illusionist.
But he never reappeared.
He wasn't a very good illusionist.
Lastly, Mr. Green, who is a...
I don't need you to expose me, Wadsworth. I know what you're going to say about me.
What's that?
Mr. Green, who is a homosexual?
Not me.
I beg your pardon?
You asked who is a homosexual, and I said, not me.
Mr. Green and Wadsworth share a baffled moment.
Yes. Thank you, Colonel. But there's more to it than that, Mr. Green.
How do you mean there's more than that?
There's evidence to support the question of your politics.
My politics? Since when is working for the Republican Party a crime?
You swore an oath of allegiance to the Republican Party, but neglected to vote for Eisenhower in the last election. That's grounds for an ousting if there ever was one.
But voting records are confidential.
Everything has a price, Mr. Green.
So, there you have it.
Have what?
A crooked senator's wife, a lascivious doctor, a disloyal Republican, and so forth. Not exactly adhering to an all-American standard of behavior, are you?
Depends on who you ask.
But wait, if this body fella is such a noble citizen himself, then why didn't he report us to the authorities?
And give up the opportunity to make a buck? Oh, come now, Professor. What could be more American than that?
Apple pie.
All right, Wadsworth. So we're all being blackmailed by a renegade McCarthyist. Where does that leave us?
Where is this Mr. Body?
And what does he want from us?
Who cares? I'm not waiting around to find out. I have done nothing wrong. I'm leaving.
She charges to the door.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Peacock. You can stay in denial, but you cannot leave this house.
I am the wife of a great senator. You cannot tell me what to do. It's locked.
Indeed. All the doors are locked, the windows are barred, and the grounds are patrolled by vicious dogs. There's no way out.
This is an
Can't do
outrage.
It's illegal.
How could you do this to us?
Hostage like this.
Allow me to introduce your host for this evening and your blackmailer for life, Mr. Body.
The body appears in the study doorway with a confident charm.
How do you do?
Who do you think you are? I will have you brought before
I thought
Congress.
millionaires were supposed to be good looking, you swine.
Boy, would I like to give you a piece of my mind. And I don't even like confrontation.
Why are you blackmailing us? I'm frustrated that I find
Fighting all these good people? I don't get it.
You're
What's in
such
it for
a
you?
typical man. Better off dead.
Mrs. White emerges at the front of the group to expertly knee Mr. Body in the groin.
Oh, Mrs. White in the study. with her knee.
Thank you. I've studied martial arts.
They take a wary step away from Mrs. White.
There is one more piece of information you may like to have.
What?
What?
The police are coming in less than an hour.
The police?
The police?
What are you talking about?
Unless
What?
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 Mr. Body refers to his briefcase.
You agreed to double down.
And why would we agree to that?
Because if you don't, I'll put this briefcase, containing all the evidence needed to expose your wrongdoings, in the hands of the police, the press, and the House Un-American Committee. With the right spin, those fellas can make a commie out of anyone. I think some of you could face a lifetime in jail, and others a lifetime of shame.
That's why you brought us all here.
I can't believe you. Unless
What?
what? Well, there is something you could do for me that would change the game. Something I just can't bear to do myself.
What?
Everyone, have a seat, please.
Is it all right if I sit here?
Before he can get the word out, Mr. Green sits on the edge of the table, which surprisingly collapses noisily.
Oh, sorry, little accident prone, sorry. I'm sorry.
Mr. Bodhi, what's this about, sir?
In this bag, there were 6 packages that I thought our guests might find useful this evening.
Mr. Body begins to empty a duffel bag full of packages into the arms of Wadsworth.
Packages?
Presents, if you will. I'm a generous sort of fellow.
Are you?
Mr. Wadsworth, will you please see to it that each guest receives a gift?
Gladly.
Wadsworth moves to distribute the gifts.
Anyone want to take a guess as to what's in your boxes?
Perfume.
Candy.
Oh, a rare single malt scotch whiskey?
Aren't guessing games fun? Please, open them.
Scarlet opens her box. Puzzled, she lifts out a heavy brass candlestick. She looks at Mr. Body.
A candlestick. What's this for?
One by one, each of the guests open their boxes, pulling out their gift.
A wrench.
A lead pipe.
A dagger.
Revolver?
A snake! Oh. No. It's a rope.
In your hands, you each have a lethal weapon. You all came tonight because you believed the evidence against you was so terrible that you would do anything to keep it a secret. I'm putting that theory to test.
You are?
Mr. Wadsworth, he is the only other person who knows your secrets, and it's costing us all dearly to keep him quiet.
What do you mean?
I wouldn't have to double your payments if I didn't have to pay Mr. Wadsworth for his silence.
Wadsworth?
Oh, that's a lie!
He may look suave and charming,
Thank you.
but really, he's conniving and manipulative.
They're false!
Why do you think he's called the police?
You called the police?
Only because he instructed me to do so.
Did I? Ladies and gentlemen, if you can manage to get rid of Mr. Wadsworth, I'll have no need to increase your blackmail, no need to expose you to the police.
Get rid of.
Does he mean kill him?
In fact, if you can eliminate Wadsworth,
Yes. I think that's what he means.
who not only knows all of your secrets, but also mine, then I will eliminate your blackmail altogether. And we can be done with this terrible business once and for all.
You would never! Oh my...
But why are you making us do this? Why don't you do your own dirty work?
Yeah, why?
Why should I? When the six of you are so uniquely motivated and armed.
What a patriot.
After all I've done for you! Come on now, everybody! He's a liar! I'm not a butler. I'm an indentured servant!
It's a familiar refrain. Don't make a scene, Wadsworth. It's over. The police are on their way. The only way to end your blackmail, the only way to avoid finding yourselves on the front pages is for one of you to kill Wadsworth. Now.
Switches off the light. The lights are switched back on. Mr. Body lies on the floor, prone, face down. Everyone else remains as they were.
It's Mr. Body.
Oh, thank goodness!
Oh my God, is he breathing?
Stand back! I'm a doctor! He's dead.
Who had the gun?
I did.
So you killed him!
I didn't!
Well, if you didn't, then who did?
Somebody grabbed the gun from my hand, and the next thing I knew, there was a shot.
Wadsworth turns Mr. Body over.
There's no gunshot wound.
He's right. There isn't.
Oh, look! There's a bullet lodged here in the wall.
Eagle eye, Miss Scarlet.
Oh, if the bullet's over there, then how did he die over here?
I don't know. I'm not a forensics expert.
Something else must have killed him.
One of us must have killed him.
They all look at each other and their weapons, nervously aware that a murderer is present amongst them.
Well, don't look at me. I didn't do it.
I didn't do
You don't
it.
get the
So did I.
Mrs. Peacock, unable to find a drink elsewhere, goes to Mr. Body's body, who's still holding a goblet.
Honey, the drink.
She pries the goblet from Mr. Body's dead hand, raises it to her lips. She downs it just as...
Wait! Maybe Mr. Body was poisoned by his brandy.
Mrs. Peacock spits brandy all over Professor Plum and dead Mr. Body.
There. It's okay. They're there, Mrs. Peacock.
She pushes him out of the way. Bobby claps Mrs. Peacock.
They're there.
Someone had to stop her screaming.
So, was the brandy poisoned?
Should I know?
Well, looks like now we'll never know.
Unless she dies too.
I'll hurry over to the sofa and stare at Mrs. Peacock.
The screams are coming from the billiard room!
Guests rush out. Mr. Green has the lead pipe in his hand. They move outside the billiard room.
Scene 4, the hall outside the billiard room. Yvette's screams are louder now as Wadsworth and the guests, except Mrs. Peacock, arrive at the door of the billiard room. Wadsworth tries the handle.
It's locked! Who's in there? Who's screaming?
They were!
Yvette? Yvette, are you alright?
No!
Yvette, are you alive?
Yvette opens the door, revealing herself in a puddle of tears, fuming.
Of course I'm alive, you idiot! No thanks to you, Wadsworth. You have locked us up in this house with a murderer!
Oh, the murderer is here.
Where?
Where? Here!
Mrs. Peacock enters, out of breath.
Or her.
What took you so long?
I am an old woman who may or may not have been poisoned. It's amazing I'm anywhere.
I heard you all in this study. One of you is the killer.
How could you hear us in this study?
I was listening. I have a tape recorder in the billiard room connected to the study. Monsieur Body asked me to record your conversation.
Why would he ask you to do that?
For more evidence, of course. Wadsworth revealed your secrets in this study. Now, they all recorded.
What a snake! I've got to destroy them. Where are the tapes?
The tapes? Who cares about the tapes? What about the body?
What body?
Mr. Body.
Body.
But, Yvette, why were you screaming in there all by yourself?
Because I was frightened too. I also drank the cognac. Maybe I was poisoned. Plus, one of you is the killer. Once your body is dead.
We have to figure out which one of them did it.
What do you mean, which one of them?
Well, I didn't do it.
Well, one of you did. I would have killed him myself, but I didn't have access to a weapon.
Don't look at me. All I got was a candlestick.
Maybe it wasn't one of us.
Who else could it be?
Who else is in the house?
Only the cook.
The cook!
Scene 5, the kitchen. They enter the kitchen. There's a large refrigerator. Mr. Green no longer has the lead pipe. They look for the cook.
As far as I can tell, the cook's not here.
Oh my, what a lovely kitchen. Me and my husband had a kitchen very similar to this one in our first brimstone. It just has such a homey feel to it, doesn't it?
As she reminisces, Mrs. Green trips, accidentally causing the refrigerator door to open. The cook's body, dagger in her back, tumbles out onto a quite unsuspecting Mr. Green.
It's the cook!
With the dagger in her back!
Someone must have killed her!
This makes 2!
Do what?
Murders! I hate murders!
I think you better explain yourself, Wadsworth.
Me?
Well, who else was going to kill the cook?
Dinner wasn't that bad.
How do you make jokes at a time like this?
Oh, it's my defense mechanism.
Some defense. If I were the killer, I'd kill you next. I said if. There's only one admitted killer here. It's Mrs. White.
I've admitted nothing.
You paid the blackmail. How many husbands have you had?
Mine or other women's?
Yours.
Five.
5?
Yes, just the 5. Husbands should be like Kleenex. Soft, strong, and disposable.
All right. Well, if it wasn't you, who was it? Who had the dagger?
It was Mrs. Peacock.
Yes, but I put it down.
Where?
In the study. Anyone could have picked it up.
Well, I didn't even.
I didn't do it.
Well, then it must have been Mr. Green.
Can somebody help?
Oh, good Lord. Someone let him up.
Really ought to learn to speak up for yourself better, Mr. Green.
Colonel Mustard and Professor Plum lift the cook's body off Mr. Green. Mr. Green gets up.
Oh my Lord. Oh, my Lord.
Wadsworth steps over Mr. Green, who crawls away.
Gentlemen, might I suggest we take the cook's body into the study?
Wadsworth hoists the cook out of Colonel Mustard's and Professor Plum's arms and onto his back.
Why?
For starters, when they find this...
Wadsworth dumps the cook's body off his back and into the arms of the rest of the group.
will all be in custody and under suspicion for murder.
Murder?
And secondly, I'm the butler. I like to keep things tidy.
They heave ho, grumbling as they do, and carry the cook's body back from the kitchen to the study.
Scene 6, the study. The guests, except Wadsworth, enter the study. They stop and slowly look back to the spot where Mr. Body was.
The body's gone.
They freeze. They drop the cook to the ground with a thud. Just then, Wadsworth enters.
What are you all staring at?
Nobody.
What do you mean?
Nobody. Nobody. Mr. Body's body. It's gone.
Maybe he wasn't really dead.
He was.
Should have made sure.
I thought I had.
So, was he dead or wasn't he?
Maybe he was dead, but somebody moved him.
Who would move him?
And why?
How should I know?
Well, if he's not there, then where is he?
Oh my! All this excitement. If you don't mind, is there a little girl's room somewhere?
Oui, madame.
No, I just need to powder my nose.
There's a toilet outside the billiard room.
Mrs. Peacock exits.
I don't mean to alarm anyone, but we do currently have the small issue of 2 dead bodies, one missing, one present, and the imminent arrival of the police.
Well, the bridge is washed out. That should buy us a little extra time.
But I don't want extra time. I want the police to arrive. I am trapped in this house with a murderer.
But once the police get here, the rest of us are doomed.
Wadsworth, am I right in thinking that there's nobody else in the house?
No.
No, there is. So there is somebody else in the house?
Sorry, I said no meaning yes.
No meaning yes?
Yes.
Look, I want a straight answer.
Don't look at me.
They look at him.
All right. Wadsworth, is there somebody else in the house? Yes or no?
Wadsworth considers this carefully. Then,
no.
No, there isn't, or no, there is?
Yes.
Look, there seems to be some confusion in whether or not we're the only ones in this house.
There isn't.
There isn't any confusion, or there isn't anybody else in the house?
Either. Both.
Just give me a clear answer.
What was the question?
Is there anybody else in the house?
No.
No.
He says that, but does he know that?
Look, we've got a killer on the loose, the missing dead body of Mr. Body, a cook with a dagger in her back, and all of these easily accessible weapons. The rope, the revolver, the candlestick, the wrench, and... Hey, where's the lead pipe?
Mrs. Peacock comes stumbling into the room with Mr. Body hanging all over her. It looks like Mr. Body is attacking her.
It's Mr. Body.
And he's attacking her.
The bloodied Mr. Body falls off of her and onto the ground. The lead pipe protrudes from his skull.
He's so bloody.
Stand back. He's dead.
That's what you said the last time.
I believe in second chances.
Mr. Body? Dead? Again?
I'm gonna faint.
I'll catch you.
Mrs. Peacock collapses in Wadsworth's arms. He releases her and she falls back with a thud.
Sorry.
Mrs. Peacock?
Yes.
Where did this happen?
In the bathroom. I was just trying to walk in the door and someone left him propped up there just waiting to fall over on someone. At first, I thought he was attacking me, but then I realized he just been waiting to fall over on me.
She pulls a tiny bottle of booze out from her cleavage and downs it.
Who would do such a thing?
It's a lot of guts to kill someone twice.
That's what we call overkill.
But why?
It doesn't matter why. It doesn't make a difference.
Makes a difference to him.
Makes a difference to us. We've got to find out who killed him, where, and with what.
Seems like it was probably the lead pipe.
10 points, Professor Plum.
What kind of game are you playing, Wadsworth?
This isn't a game.
You. The lead pipe belonged to you.
But I dropped it while running to the kitchen.
People don't just drop murder weapons.
Well, I didn't know it was a murder weapon when I dropped it.
So anyone could have picked it up.
Yes, of course. But who did? Who did pick up the lead pipe? Who picked up the lead pipe and brutally murdered Mr. Body in the bathroom, leaving him bloody and murdered? Who did that?
Cool it, Butler. While you're over here losing your marbles, I'm here trying to do something useful. Have you all forgotten the evidence against us? The evidence!
They move towards Miss Scarlet. Miss Scarlet tries to open Mr. Body's briefcase.
Mr. Body's briefcase is locked.
Must be a key.
Mr. Green, would you be so kind as to check Mr. Body's pockets for the key to his briefcase containing the evidence of our crimes, so that we may destroy said evidence once and for all?
Why me?
Why not?
Well, all right.
Mr. Green pulls out a latex glove, putting it on.
Where'd you get that?
I don't like germs.
Or fingerprints.
No, it's mostly germs.
Mr. Green searches Mr. Body's pocket, gagging and holding back vomit.
Oh, it's warm. I found it. I found it.
Come here, give it here.
He rushes it over to Miss Scarlet, who opens the briefcase.
It's empty.
Empty?
Then where's all the evidence?
I told you Mr. Body was a liar, had the evidence in his briefcase, my foot.
We must find that evidence.
And destroy it.
Alright, evidence against us aside. First things first. We're in a room with count them, 2 dead bodies.
And the cops are on their way.
Exactly. Now let's move the corpses to the couch so they look less dead.
Some party this is turning out to be.
Help me, Monsieur Green.
Oh, all right.
Vet and Mr. Green drag the cook, while Professor Plum drags Mr. Body.
Careful, don't get guts on the ground. Oh my.
Solid battlefield technique, Professor Plum. Never leave a man behind.
Cadavers are heavier than they seem, aren't they?
Wouldn't know.
Right. Me neither.
Oopsie daisy.
Oh, here. Prop her up.
Well, aren't you all strong and virile?
Mrs. Peacock drinks from a flask.
Good. They just look asleep.
Forget about the bodies. We need to do something about this room full of murder weapons and the homicidal maniac on the loose.
Let's put the weapons in the bag.
Wadsworth starts to put the remaining weapons in Mr. Body's bag.
What good will that do?
Then we'll zip up the bag.
Most murderers know how zippers work, Mr. Wadsworth.
I know. We'll put the bag in the safe.
Terrific. Where's the safe?
In the hall.
Scene 7. The hall. They all arrive and Wadsworth tinkers with the bottom of a large framed portrait hanging between 2 doors.
I don't see a safe.
Is that an original Trumbull, Mr. Wadsworth?
Those are quite valuable.
Now is not the time for art appreciation, Butler.
Before Mrs. Peacock can finish her thought, Wadsworth opens the painting on the wall to reveal a safe.
Oh!
Wadsworth throws the bag in and locks the painting.
A hidden safe behind a portrait. How original!
There, locked.
Voila.
So, what are you going to do with the key, Wadsworth?
Oh, yes, it's the key.
I'll put it in my pocket.
But what if you're the murderer?
I'm not.
But what if you are?
I've an idea. We'll throw it outside.
Oui, à l'extérieur.
But what if it's raining outside? Blah, blah, blah.
I'm not suggesting we go outside. I'm suggesting we stay inside but throw away the key.
But you'd have to open the door, wouldn't you?
I would.
But what if the killer's outside?
Ooh, better out than in.
Yes, and we'd want to keep him outside, wouldn't we? If we open the door, we risk letting him back in.
But maybe if we open the door, we'd encourage the killer to go out.
The killer seems to be doing a fine job opening and closing doors all by himself. I don't see how opening the door for one tiny second could possibly make that sort of a difference.
But what if we open the door, throw the key away, and the killer catches it? Then the killer would have the key we're trying to confiscate.
We might be overthinking this. I'm going to throw away the key. Follow me.
Scene 8, the front door. Wadsworth leads Yvette and the guests towards the front door. He opens the door to throw away the safe key, but shockingly, a motorist stands at the door, poised to knock. Wadsworth slams the door in the motorist's face. The guests are breathless with fear.
Who was that? The killer?
He looked like a killer.
Takes one to know one.
Leave him to me. Interrogation is my specialty.
Colonel Mustard opens the door.
How do you do?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to disturb the whole household, but my car broke down out here, and I was wondering if I could use your phone?
Are you a killer?
What? No.
All right. This way, please.
Thank you. Well, where is it?
Where's what? The body?
The phone. What body?
What? There's nobody. There's nobody.
Right. There's nobody in the study.
Colonel Mustard has inadvertently pointed to the study. The motorist starts walking towards it. Everyone realizes that's where the bodies are.
No! No. That phone's been disconnected. But I think there's one in the lounge.
Alrighty then.
Wadsworth brings the motorist to the door of the lounge.
Right through this door.
Thank you.
Wadsworth opens the door, lets the motorist in, then closes and locks the door.
Now listen, everyone. We haven't much time. Our task is twofold. 1, find the evidence, and 2, find the murderer.
Okay, we've got one potential suspect locked in the lounge, but that still leaves this entire place up for grabs. Who knows what's behind all these doors?
I suggest we handle this in proper military fashion. We split up and search the house.
Split up?
Yeah, we'll split up into pairs. That way, no one will be alone.
But if we split up into pairs, whoever the murderer is paired with might get killed.
Oh dear.
But then we would have discovered who the murderer actually is.
But then the other half of the pair would be dead.
This is war, Mrs. Peacock. Casualties are inevitable. You can't make an omelet without breaking an egg. Every cook will tell you that.
Look what happened to the cook.
Colonel, are you willing to take that chance?
What choice do we have?
None.
Suppose you're right.
All right, troops. Divide and conquer. I'll split into pairs. Eeny, meeny, miny.
No. Mrs. White, you come with me. Professor Plum, you're with Mrs. Peacock. Yvette, you go with Mr. Green. And Miss Scarlet, you're with Eeny Meeny.
But what if someone doesn't come back?
We'll remember you fondly. Now, leave no door unopened and cherish your partner. This might be the last person you ever see.
Scene 9. The hall.
Go on. I'll be right behind you.
That's why I'm nervous.
Why? It's just us. We're alone.
That's just it, Mrs. White. No man in his right mind would ever be alone with you.
Fine. You go in there, and I'll go in here.
They go to 2 doors, but don't go in.
Are you going in?
Yes. Are you?
Yes.
On the count of 3. 1, 3.
Wadsworth and Mrs. White enter and exit their respective rooms abruptly.
Nothing in that room.
Nothing in that room either.
Shall we search the ballroom?
All right.
Focus shifts to Mrs. Peacock and Professor Plum in the library.
This is quite an impressive library.
Mrs. Peacock puts a book back on the bookshelf, triggering an elaborate FBI-style secret panel labeled Evidence, plastered with headshots and notes detailing the guests' crime to flip and appear in the wall directly behind them. They do not see it.
Oh, well, how am I supposed to know what I'm even looking for here?
Civilization is perpetually menaced with the disintegration through this primary hostility of men towards one another.
Your fancy words don't intimidate me, Professor.
I take no credit, Mrs. Peacock. Freud, I think he's onto something.
Now is not time for academic pursuits. What's supposed to be found in the evidence?
It's a fruitless search, if you ask me. I mean, it's not like we're going to find some big wall plastered with evidence.
I suppose you're right.
Come on, let's check upstairs. Maybe we'll be excited by something in the bedroom.
I haven't been excited about something in a bedroom for years.
They exit the library. The guests crisscross once more, featuring an unexpected split-second connection between Yvette and Wadsworth. Then Colonel Mustard crosses the hall, studying an enlarged map of Body Man, and moves to the lounge to find the motorist on the phone.
I mean, I'm a little nervous. I'm at that big house on the hill and I've been locked in the lounge. I didn't expect there'd be a whole group of people here. I think they're having some sort of party. And the funny thing is, I think one of those is my customer.
As he's talking, the portrait behind him opens and a gloved hand appears behind him with a raised wrench.
Yeah, my regular Tuesday night passenger.
The wrench comes down on the motorist's head.
Scene 10, the conservatory. Colonel Mustard searches the conservatory floor. Miss Scarlet enters slyly, holding Professor Plum's pipe.
Psst.
Oh, there you are.
You'll never believe what I found in the library. Professor Plum's stupid tobacco pipe.
Huh. Wonder what that means.
Who knows? But it seems suspicious if you ask me.
I just did.
Honestly, Colonel, this is the last room to search in this beastly mansion, and we still haven't found the evidence.
I think this time has been quite productive, nevertheless.
Aren't you a Pollyanna?
You're a brave and determined lady, Miss Scarlet. I hope after this expedition ends, we can remain friends. Seriously, murders aside, it's been a lovely group, all in all. I suppose I would like to hear Mrs. White talk about when and how she lost her veil in the billiard room.
Miss Scarlet grabs the veil.
Mrs. White lost her veil. Odd.
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 Colonel Mustard accidentally leans on the wall sconce, which moves like a lever. A trapdoor in the floor opens.
A trapdoor. A trapdoor leading to a secret passageway. Come on.
Ladies first, Miss Scarlet.
How heroic.
Miss Scarlet steps in the passage. Colonel Mustard follows her.
Scene 11, the lounge. The painting opens. Miss Scarlet and Colonel Mustard climb out of it.
Where are we now?
How should I know? The lights are off.
Well, turn them on!
I would, if I could see anything.
Whatever. I'm just gonna have to feel my way around.
Don't get any funny ideas, Colonel.
A table.
A telephone.
A chair.
A body. A body?
A body? Ah!
Find the door!
Get me out of here!
They find the door, but the door is locked.
Help! Help!
Murder!
Guests run to the lounge.
Let us in!
Let us in! Let us in!
Let us out! Let us out!
But we can't let you out. The door to the lounge is locked.
You had the key, Wadsworth. You locked the motorist in here.
That's right. I did. I do. I don't. The key is missing.
Missing?
I have an idea.
Yvette runs off.
There's a murderer on the loose. Please get us out of here.
Professor Plum walks back from the door at his most macho.
There's no alternative. I'm just gonna have to break down the door. Stand back! I'm a doctor.
Suddenly, Yvette runs on, holding the gun.
Stand back! I'm a woman.
Professor Plum backs into Yvette. Their crash causes her gun to go off, firing upwards. The chandelier above falls, pinning Mr. Green.
Can somebody help me?
Mr. Green rolls out from beneath the chandelier, which nearly crushed him.
What happened? We're stuck in here!
I will help you.
Yvette, still determined to save the day, points the gun at the lounge door. With surprising expertise, she fires the gun twice at the lock.
I'm done shooting at you. You can come out now.
Colonel Mustard and Miss Scarlet exit the lounge.
Why were you shooting at us?
You opened the door.
But you could have killed us!
I said stand back.
Wadsworth, let's add finding the key to the lounge to our priority list.
Frenchie, where did you get that gun anyway?
The safe, it was unlocked.
Unlocked?
Locked?
Impossible. I have the key.
He checks his pocket.
No, I haven't. It's gone.
Gone?
Gone? Oh, man. Not to beat a dead horse, but again, I feel like having all of the keys is really...
the safe, Mr. Wadsworth.
I did say that, but I didn't do that. We got distracted by the motorist at the door, and I forgot. One of you must have snatched the keys from my pocket when we were searching the house.
Whoever has the keys is the killer.
Precisely.
Speaking of the killer, there's a dead body in the lounge, you know. The motorist is dead.
Miss Scarlet opens the lounge door. They all peek in.
Which one of you killed him?
We found him together.
And he was already dead.
But the lounge was locked.
We went through a secret passageway that we found in the conservatory.
A secret passage? Who designed this place?
The Parker brothers.
They wait and hope.
Who could that be?
Oh my gosh.
What are we gonna do?
Quick, I'll hide the gun.
Don't worry. It's not the police.
It's the police.
I'm going to let him in.
No!
No! It's the decent thing to do.
Open the door.
Mr. Green opens the front door. A cop stands there.
Good evening, sir.
Evening, officer. We've been expecting you.
You have?
We haven't?
I got a tip about an abandoned car near the gates of this house. Did a motorist stop by for help by any chance?
No.
Yes.
There seems to be some disagreement. At any rate, may I come in and use your phone?
No.
No.
Of course you may, sir. There's one in the lounge.
Miss Scarlet, who is closest to the lounge door, blocks it.
Out of order.
Oh, right, of course. You may use the one in the study.
Professor Plum, who is closest to the study door, blocks it.
Occupied.
If you please, sir, you may use the phone in, the library. Right this way.
You're all acting rather peculiar.
It's because our chandelier fell down.
Oh,
yes.
You love that.
Really love that.
Hold on, come on. Don't worry, the maid will clean it up.
Well, that's all well and good, but what's going on in the lounge and the study?
Lounging, studying, this way.
Let me have a look.
No, thank you.
What?
This way, please.
Actually, I'd like to take a look around if you don't mind.
Of course, officer. Follow me. I'll take you on a grand tour of Body Manor.
Guests huddle up, quietly whispering together to come up with a plan, while Yvette uses a pulley system by the front door to raise the chandelier back into position.
This home was built by Lord Reginald Body in 1784.
We've got to cover our tracks and get rid of this guy.
This way, please. Lord Body had been declared Lord Body after somebody discovered an antibody that would kill everybody.
Mrs. White, Mrs. Peacock, Colonel Mustard, and Yvette head to the study where Mr. Green's bodies and the cook's bodies remain. Professor Plum, Miss Scarlet, and Mr. Green head to the
Notice the mahogany floor. Did you know, in the 17th century, the buccaneer John Esquemeling recorded the use of mahogany for making canoes. Can you canoe?
What?
Groups have each entered their respective rooms. The cop turns around to find.
Hey, where'd everybody go?
Notice, come on, the brass doorknobs, made specifically for Lord Body by his buddy in 1878.
I don't care about the doorknobs, mister. What's going on around here? What are you hiding in those two rooms?
Which two rooms?
The lounge and the study.
Oh, those two rooms.
Yeah.
The cop approaches the study door. Wadsworth blocks his path.
No, officer, I don't think you should go in there.
Why not?
Because it's all too shocking.
The cop shoves Wadsworth aside and enters the study. The guests puppeteer the dead bodies of Mr. Body and the cook so they appear to be alive.
Hello, officer. Welcome to the party.
Mrs. White has set herself up with dead Mr. Body on top of her to make it appear as if they're making out.
Excuse me.
Yvette dusts him.
You are excused.
The cop notices Colonel Mustard seemingly making out with the dead cook, while Mrs. Peacock, unseen by the cop, uses her hands as if they were the cook's hands, heavily petting Colonel Mustard.
Pardon me.
The cop moves to exit.
Good night, officer.
Good night.
The cop retreats from the study back into the hall with Wadsworth.
That wasn't all that shocking, mister. Those folks were just having a good time. Why didn't you tell me this was a party?
My apologies, sir.
I'll just take a look in the lounge, if you don't mind.
Cop opens the door to the lounge. The dead motorist, an alcohol bottle in hand, seems to be drunk rather than dead, is propped up in a chair by Mr. Green, who shares the chair with him, also pretending to be drunk. Professor Plum and Miss Scarlet are slow dancing to the music behind him.
Excuse me.
Evening, officer. How do you do?
Are these men drunk?
Dead drunk.
Mr. Green offers the cop booze from the dead motorist's limp hand, splashing booze everywhere.
Want a sip?
Oh, I can't drink while on the job. Chief would kill me.
Killed if you do, killed if you don't.
What?
What? Huh?
Evening, officer. Have a lovely one.
Same to you.
The cop shuts the door.
Well,
I can explain everything.
no explanation necessary. There's nothing illegal about any of this.
There's not.
Of course not. This is America, and that was the pursuit of happiness. May I use your phone now?
Certainly.
Wadsworth leads the cop to the library.
The library officer.
Thank you.
Wadsworth closes and locks the door behind him. Then,
All's clear. You can come out now. Well done, all of you. Impressive.
all the guests emerge into the hall, congratulating themselves.
Congrats, everyone.
Really?
I didn't think
A
you
drunk?
had it in you.
Professor.
What?
All
Did
right.
you think I did good?
I've locked him in the library.
Wait, how'd you do that? I thought you didn't have the keys.
I didn't have my right pocket keys, but my left pocket keys are intact. Now, let's finish searching the manor. The police are on their way.
The police just arrived.
Not the
Oh,
broken,
wait.
Not the broken down
criminal
car
investigation police.
The criminal investigation police.
Precisely. We must find the evidence, and we can't afford to have any more murders. This is getting dangerous. Now go.
The guests disperse to search the house.
Scene 12. The library / the billiard room. The cop dials the phone.
Hello? Hello?
The lights go out.
A power outage must be the storm. Hello? Oh, hello, Chief. Yes, this is... Hello? Hello? Are you there? Is this phone working?
Hello? Who turned out the light? Hello?
She sees someone in the doorway.
Oh, it's only you. I thought he was the killer.
Did somebody cut the line? Hello?
Oh, what is that in your hand? Is that a clue?
A gloved hand holding the rope emerges from behind Yvette. A noose squeezes onto her neck. She struggles.
Oh, good. You can hear me. You see, I found an abandoned car and wound up in this old mansion where all the lights just went out. I'm telling you, Chief, something funny is going on around here.
A gloved hand holding a candlestick emerges from a trapdoor in the bookshelf.
They're having some sort of a party, and you'll never believe who I just saw.
Cop turns around at a mysterious sound. The candlestick descends on the cop.
No.
Scene 13, the hall.
There we are.
Must be true.
No!
Huh.
Well, let there be light.
Shh. Do you hear that?
It sounds like The telephone is off the hook.
I think it's coming from the library.
Oh, that's where the killer must be.
I'm going in.
Aren't you afraid?
Of course.
Of what? A fate worse than death?
No, just death.
Wadsworth, followed by the guests, goes to the library door, then locks it. The cop sits, head down.
Excuse me, cop. Are you all right? Do you need assistance? A phone book, perhaps?
Oh, come on. Listen here, copper. The both asked you a question. Now, if you hang up that telephone already, I will.
Doesn't move. Mrs. Peacock slams the phone down. She pulls the cop's body back, revealing a bloody candlestick protruding from his head, morbidly.
Oh my God!
Run until the billiard room.
We should be safe here in the billiard room.
I don't feel safe.
How about a round of pool to pass the time?
I can't relax.
Oh, that's
Yes.
I love pool!
Good idea.
They all step aside and reveal Yvette's blade strangled hanging off the table.
I love.
Oh my God!
Guests run to the hall. The front door opens on its own. A cute, perky, singing telegram girl tap dances in the doorframe.
A note in the mail may be quite confidential, but it is no singing telegram. It may be cliche, but don't be judgmental. I will try to sing on key, maybe even hit high C. Call before and writing a chore, but we all lose those cards in the end. But for birthdays and makeups, bat mitzvahs and breakups, telegrams are this girl's best friend.
The young woman falls dead in the doorway.
Scene 14, the conclusion. They collectively take a breath. Wadsworth, pushing the girl's leg out of the way, shuts the front door. They are eerily calm.
3 murders in 3 minutes.
That's our best record.
3 murders.
6 altogether.
The cook, Mr. Body, motorist, the cop, Yvette, and the singing telegram girl.
But who is the murderer?
Ain't that the $1 million question?
Sometimes the most obvious answer is right under our noses. I think the best course of action is to retrace our steps. It all started like this. At the start of the evening, there was thunder, lightning, the dogs barked. Ding dong, Colonel Mustard. Ding dong, Mrs. White, who noticed Yvette. Mrs. Peacock, who noticed the cook. Then Mr. Green. Whoop, whoop, sit. No, not you, sir. Please come in. Then Professor Plum, Miss Scarlet. Then dinner is served. Well, that was more like a cocktail minute. To the dining room. Shark fin soup. Oh, yummy, yum, 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 yum. Oh, my favorite. Then Mr. Body arrived and we all went to the study. Coffee, brandy. Who is this Mr. Body butler? How do you do? Then Mr. Body asked me to pass out the packages. Snake! No, it's a rope. Then Mr. Body switched off the lights. Now.
Not again!
Lights up. Wadsworth lies dead on the floor.
Mr. Body was dead, but not really. Really, he was alive, but we didn't know that. Then Mrs. Peacock drank his drink.
Drinks from Mrs. Peacock's flask and spits it all over the guests.
Poison! Well, someone had to stop her screaming. Then we head to the billiard room, but Mrs. Peacock joined late. I'm an old woman who may or may not have been poisoned. Then Mrs. White asked, who else is in this task? To which we all replied,
the cook!
Who we found knifed in the back.
He imitates stabbing her, and then imitates the cook falling dead out of the freezer onto Mr. Green.
Oh God, so gross.
Will somebody help me up? I suggested we take the cook's body into the study. Mr. Body's body was gone. Then Mrs. Peacock entered with Mr. Body on her body because Mr. Body had been bludgeoned in his bean. Then the briefcase.
Mime's opening the briefcase at the desk.
Empty. Next, the motorist arrived. Are you the killer? And I locked him in the lounge.
He fake kills Mr. Green, a la the motorist, with a mime to wrench the head. Mr. Green drops dead, a la the motorist.
Dead.
He moves to the front door.
That's when the unexpected cop showed up. Hello, you're all acting rather peculiar. Can you canoe?
He fake kills Professor Plum with a mimed candlestick to the head. Professor Plum drops dead, a la the cop.
Dead. Then the maid got strangled in the billiard room.
He fake strangles Miss Scarlet with mimed rope. Miss Scarlet drops dead, a la Event.
Dead, which brings us to a kiss on the hand, maybe quite continental, but telegrams are a bang. And here we all are.
Bravo!
Impressive, Wadsworth.
But what does it prove?
Nothing.
Well,
Enough of this. I know who the murderer is. You do? I do.
All right then, Mrs. Scarlet, we're listening. Who do you accuse?
Miss Scarlet reveals Professor Plum's pipe, pointing it at Professor Plum.
It was Professor Plum in the hall with the revolver.
Liar!
We all heard the gun go off, Professor, and I found your stupid tobacco pipe in the hall. When did you drop it, huh? When you were searching for your best spot to scope out your next victim? I bet that poor singing telegram girl was an old patient of yours, wasn't she?
I never saw that girl before in my life.
Well, the gun is missing. Gentlemen, turn out your pockets. Ladies, empty your purses. Whoever has the gun is the murderer.
They all do so. Professor Plum pulls out the revolver with a grunt. He points it at Wadsworth.
You can't prove anything if you're all dead.
That may be so, Professor Plum, but if we're alive...
Wadsworth opens the door. The chief of police and his backup cop enter, guns and badges revealed, stepping over the dead singing telegram girl on their way in.
Officers, there's your man.
Well done, Wadsworth.
But that's what I said.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it now. I'm handcuffs, chief of police. And Professor Plum, you're coming with me.
But that's not how it happened. It happened like this.
They return to their positions.
All right, then. We're listening, Professor Plum. Who do you accuse?
It was Colonel Mustard in the lounge with the wrench.
I never lounge!
I found your Medal of Honor in the lounge where the motorist was killed with a wrench to the head. And that wrench belonged to you.
That's a lie!
The wrench is missing. Gentlemen, turn out your pockets. Ladies, empty your purses. Whoever has the wrench is the murderer.
They all do. Colonel Mustard pulls out the wrench with a threatening grunt.
Well done, Wadsworth.
Cops enter, guns and badges revealed.
There's your man, officer. Not a kernel of truth in him.
Well done, Wadsworth.
But that's what I said.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it now. Guilty verdict. Chief of police. Colonel Mustard, you're coming with me.
That's not how it happened. It happened like this.
They return to their positions.
We're listening, Colonel. Who do you accuse?
It was Mrs. White in the billiard room with the rope.
I'd rather die.
I found your veil in the billiard room, and I saw how you cringed at Yvette when she served you dinner.
Yes, it's true. I knew Yvette. She had a torrid love affair with my late husband. I hated her. I hated her so much. The flames on the side of my face, breathing, heaving breaths. But just because I hated her does not mean I killed her.
Rope is missing. Gentlemen, turn out your pockets. Ladies.
Mrs. White pulls out the rope with a yelp. They gasp as she waves it threateningly.
Well done, Wadsworth!
Cops burst in.
Well done, Wadsworth.
But that's what I said!
Yeah, well, I'm saying it now. Mark my words, Chief of Police. Mrs. White?
It happened like this.
They return to their positions.
Mrs. White, who do you accuse?
It was Mrs. Peacock in the kitchen with the dagger. I found your feather by the corpse.
Gentlemen, turn out your pockets.
Mrs. Peacock reveals a dagger.
Well done, Wadsworth.
Well done, Wadsworth.
Cops enter, disarming and cuffing Mrs. Peacock.
But that's what I said. Yes, well, I'm saying it out.
I'm Barry D. Hatchet, Chief of
Police.
Please.
But that is not how it happened.
It happened like this.
They return to their positions.
It was Miss Scarlet in the library with the candlestick.
Maximo, Chief of Police.
You can't do this to me.
Frankly, Miss Scarlet, I don't give a damn. But it really happened like this.
They do one final, irritated, lackluster rewind.
I know who the murderer is.
Who?
All of you. Breathe.
Wadsworth reveals a gun.
Nobody move. You're all killers.
You can't prove anything, Mr. Wadsworth.
I'm not Mr. Wadsworth. I'm Mr. Body.
But if you're Mr. Body, how could you be Mr. Body? Mr. Body bled all over me.
It wasn't Mr. Body who was bleeding.
But if Mr. Body wasn't Mr. Body, then who was he?
He was Wadsworth, my butler.
But if you are the real Mr. Body, then what was your purpose in dragging this all out?
Well, when you started murdering people, I decided to roll the dice, see if you'd self-implode, kill off my entire network of spies and informers, which you all did splendidly, by the way, generously leaving your fingerprints on every glass, doorknob, and dead body. So now I have each of you on the hook for murder.
Murder?
Bribery for petty crimes is one thing, but murder? Now that could get expensive.
But why this whole charade?
Destruction of the house? A rich face in our steps?
It's all part of the game.
Game?
Yeah, well, I'm relaxed now, you see. Now that you've killed off everyone, there's no evidence left against me. I've gotten off scot-free.
But the police will be here any minute. You'll never get away with this.
What's so funny?
No one's called the police. Have they?
They were never even on their way.
Now listen up, you reprobates. We're gonna stack the bodies in the cellar, lock the cellar door, leave Body Manor one at a time, and forget that any of this ever happened.
I can't forget all this.
With a murder on the menu, the price of blackmail just tripled.
Forgotten.
Now move.
Oh, wait a minute. We can all rush him. He's got no more bullets left in that gun.
Oh, come on now. You don't think I'm going to fall for that old trick?
It's not a trick. There was one shot at Mr. Bowdy in the study, 2 for the chandelier, 2 at the lounge door, and 1 for the singing telegram girl.
That's not 6.
1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1.
There was 1 shot that got the chandelier. That's 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1.
Even if you were right, that would be 1 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1, not 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 1.
Okay, fine. 1 plus 2 plus... Shut up! Point is, there is 1 bullet left in this gun, and anybody who moves is gonna get it.
So you're just gonna keep blackmailing us, and we're all supposed to pretend like none of this ever happened?
Of course, so why not?
I'll tell you why not.
Mr. Green draws a gun.
Larry Goodman, FBI. The jig is up.
Wadsworth turns and shoots Mr. Green. Mr. Green dodges with matrix-esque finesse.
Miss me.
Mr. Green trains his gun on Wadsworth, who is genuinely now frightened.
You're FBI?
Apparently, I'm a dead ringer for Mr. Green. He got a letter like each of you, but he came to the bureau to ask for help. I took his place in that for a sting operation.
Some sting operation? 6 people died on your watch!
I usually work the desk. My beat is property crime. You know, theft, fraud. That's why I was so tickled when the real Mr. Wadsworth risked his neck to drop off a briefcase with the evidence last night.
You've had the evidence this whole time.
It's all here. Miss Scarlett's books, listing employees and customers, justifying why she killed the cop.
Give me that.
Miss Scarlet lunges at Mr. Green. He staves her off with his gun.
Ooh, and a love letter just to Professor Plum.
That's private property.
That singing telegram girl was the teenage daughter, the head of the you-know-who. Who would have come clean to Daddy? Who would have cleaned out Professor Plum? Say it,
Here.
Wadsworth makes an attempt to escape. Mr. Green trains the gun on him again, grounding him.
And these negatives, Colonel. Quite the regular at Miss Scarlett's establishment. Bet you couldn't be at a colonel anymore if that motorist had informed your general where he drives you on Tuesday nights.
I just wanted somebody to talk with.
Wadsworth takes a step towards Mr. Green's gun. Mr. Green thwarts his attempt with ninja-like moves and carries on with a flourish.
Shark fin soup indeed, Miss Peacock. Too bad your cook couldn't keep quiet. If only she hadn't blabbed about your briberies. Maybe you wouldn't killed her. Just before joining us in the billiard room. Now we really know it took you so long.
Circumstantial evidence will never hold up in a court of law.
But these notarized records from a cook will. And Mrs. White, you weren't lying. You really did hate Yvette.
Flames on the side of my face.
Okay, we get it.
Dealing a vial, seemingly out of thin air.
Here's a vial containing fingerprints from your previous murders.
I never murdered my husband.
Fingerprints, I'm sure the FBI will be able to match found on the noose, found around Yvette's neck.
I wore gloves.
Mr. Green opened to his chest to reveal Mrs. White's gloves pinned to his chest.
You mean these? And last, but not least, Mr. Bobby Body.
It's Robert.
Now, you didn't hate Yvette at all, did you, Mr. Body?
What's it to you?
Illicit green card love affair is the icing on this cake to the FBI file. An FBI file on the whole Body family. Your butler, the real Wadsworth, has been feeding us information for months. Talk about a real American.
He was British.
You know what I mean. I see why you want to kill him. Twice. Missed him in the study, but he wisely played dead. And it wasn't till you found him trying to escape that you bludgeoned him to death with a lead pipe by drop roll running to the kitchen.
I mean, really, Miss Scarlet, who drops a murder weapon?
I didn't know it was a... whatever. The Body family has been wanted for organized crimes for generations, but they've always eluded the law. Until now. Tonight, the Body business has reached a dead end.
You leave my family out of this!
Wadsworth, enraged, uses a dagger he snagged from Mrs. Peacock's purse to lunge at Mr. Green. Mr. Green fires, shooting Wadsworth successfully.
Oh, Larry. Larry. It's so dark. Second wind. If I knew you were coming, I'd have baked a cake. Yes. Here we go. I'm gone.
He's dead.
Not yet.
Oh, come on.
When your heart is breaking, smile. Mama. Larry. Now.
I tell ya, this was the most exciting night I've had in a long while. And now you're all under arrest, officers!
Cops with guns burst through the front door. The guests hold up their hands.
Here are the criminals you've been looking for, and the taped confessions are in the billiard room.
The tapes! Ugh.
All right, who done it?
She did.
She did.
They all did. But if you want to know who killed Mr. Body,
He indicates Wadsworth.
it was me, Special Agent Larry Goodman in the hall, with the gun.
Well done, Goodman.
That's what
what
he
he
said.
Mr. Green arrogantly twirls his gun.
And that's how it really... Sorry. Okay, Chief. Okay, Chief, take him away.
End of play.
Thank you for attending Perkium and Valley's fall play. And we would like to thank our motorist and chief of police, played in this performance by Meredith Marks. Playing the cop, Anya Sponholz. Playing Mr. Body and our newscaster, Riley Smith. Our singing telegram girl, Ava DeFiore. Our narrator number 1, Caroline Ryder. And narrator number 2, Ava DeColey. The cook was Reagan Park. And to our main suspects, Colonel Mustard was Christian Rude. Professor Plum was played by Christian Seibel. Mr. Green was Sean Francisco. Mrs. Peacock was played by Amelia Harris. Mrs. White was played by Kelly McKenzie. Miss Scarlett was played by Julia Garberick. And Yvette was played by Rhea Sringari. And our Wadsworth was John Baranowski. Special thanks goes out to our sound technician, Leah Rubenstein, our stage manager, Vanna Mitchum, our production manager, Jane Houston. A shout out to our acting coach and the drama club advisor, Mr. Matt Lyzak. And of course, my assistant director, Mrs. Tricia Fisher. And I'm Linda McAllister, and I just want to thank you for tuning in to our show. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you for coming.
Bye.
Bye.
you.
Thank you for
Night.
coming.
Thank you.